Hello, Healthy family, and welcome to today's video. Thank you so much for coming and sharing some time with me. I love and appreciate you all. I am Chanel, Ascending Infinite Goddess, in all my shining, glistening glory. Y'all, I've been outside trying to record this video for like an hour, and every time something happened, my camera battery went low, so I went to grab my phone halfway through recording. The the low power mode went on, and I went to check, and it didn't say the back. Like, I don't know, something glitchy, and I'm like, is it Mercury retrograde? What the fuck? Then I went to start again after all of that, and they started cutting my neighbor's grass, and you could hear it all in the back. So we are inside. We are inside. I was like, I'm melting. I cannot keep doing this, so we're just gonna move it in. But yeah, today we are going to talk about sex. Yes. Okay. So if that's TMI for you, if you are a prude, okay, you may want to click off this video, because it's not just about the sex. It's about poly. Okay. Now, I first heard about the situation through Era Lion. She put a video out, and it was like in response to a podcast that had went on with this guy named Aubrey. I don't know the person, never watched his podcast, but the way how she was framing it, surrounding like poly, it was just a, like a take on from her stance, and then some channeled information. And I could tell the difference, what was her coming from her experience and her perspective, and then what was coming through from source. So I was like, let me look up who this person is, because, if he's being a bully, he's out here, she's like, people are infiltrating the spiritual world, the spiritual community, whatever with stuff. And by the way, before I go any further, let me let y'all know, for those of you who are new, because the algorithm is probably going to push us out to people who have never seen me before. I am Ascending Infinite Goddess in everything that I do. I'm a goddess in everything that I do. And there is light and there is dark. If you come on my comments being reckless, my throat chakra is open, I match energy. Okay, that's one. Two, we do not disrespect anyone here, or their opinions, or their perspectives, because all things can be true at once. Okay, so let's just lay that groundwork from here. Now, when I was hearing what Aaron Lyons was saying, it seemed like the lady was, like, his wife was pushed and bullied into the situation. And I'm like, I hate people who do that. There's been a lot of frauds or perpetrators that have been in the spiritual community, which I don't even know what it is, because they're like a lot of spiritual leaders. And I'm like, that's your first problem. Okay, but we'll tap into that later. So I looked this guy up, and he has the same birthday as me. Not the same year, but the same birthday, February 28th. And I was like, shut the front door. And then I looked at his Instagram, and he had a post there, and one of the posts were from Miami. And I was like, that's where I'm from. Okay, is he from Miami? So now I got to go watch the podcast. So like the next day I had some time, so I clicked it, and it was like 2.5 hours. And based off of how Aaron Lyons was saying everything, I was like, I'm not going to watch this whole thing. I'm going to give it about 30 minutes or so. Let me just get the feel of the people. And when Aubrey started talking, I was like, okay, he doesn't feel, like a perpetrator. He doesn't feel disingenuous. And hearing his story, how he was laying the groundwork for things, why he came into this situation, because he had been around a lot of people, and they were cheating in their relationships, and they were haunted, and they were holding the energy in their bodies. I'm like, well, yeah, that's actually how a lot of people start in a poly relationship. And I keep saying poly because they are polyamorous, meaning you can have open relationships, you can have sexual relationships, intimate relationships, right? It doesn't have to be only sexual. It can be sexual, intimate, romantic. There is a difference between all of them outside of the marriage. Okay. And I was just like, that's not for me. I'm not trying to, stuff like that. I'm not interested in messing with other, men or things of that nature. But when Erin was talking, she was, saying like, if you don't want to be monogamous, just date around, framing it like he didn't really love her, but hearing his story, hearing what he's saying, and then hearing his wife, right, Vi, I believe her name is, her response and her traumas and how she recognized how she attracted this person. And I'm like, okay, she's not an incompetent woman. She wasn't bullied into anything. She went in with her eyes wide open. This wasn't something that they decided to do. It's not something that happened overnight. They evolved, and people evolve. Okay, people do evolve. So when I saw everyone that was saying, oh, toxic masculinity, and he was playing on her shadows and he forced her into it, I'm like, no, these are people that are just speaking from their perspective, their hurt, their pain. Now, my husband and I, we are into polygamy, right? So, just a little backstory. My husband and I have known each other since the year 2000. Okay. I met him. His daughter was like 10 months old. I didn't meet her at the time, but his daughter was 10 months old. He was, just getting reacclimated to Miami, things of that nature. We connected, broke up, broke up, had a baby in 2004. And at that time in 2004, I let him know, hey, I'm bisexual. I like women. Is that a problem? Whatever. He was like, no, that's fine. Now, yes, we introduced that because at the time I was 19 or something, and of course it's everyone's fantasy, but you're not quite really an adult there. You're not really quite an adult. So you're just thinking about the sex. That's all it is. And then we separated, we broke up. I got married to someone else. He got married to someone else. In my marriage with my partner, I told him, hey, you don't have to. He started cheating on me. Ugh, I'm trying to like cliff note this shit, but he started cheating on me, and I'm like, I told you I'm bisexual. You don't have to cheat on me. If you just spoke up and opened up about it, we could do this in a way where it's wonderful and beneficial for everybody. But he was not secure within himself at that time to allow that to happen. So let's go ahead and disprove right then and there that it's always the man that wants this. That's not the case. For me, in my case, in my experience, I introduced it to my partners like, hey, this is what I like, this is what I'm into, you with it or not. And of course, you would think that every man is like, yeah, this is it. But my ex was like, no, not so much, right? It takes security in all parties. Everyone has to be secure in their own self. They have to love their own self. They have to have a solid foundation within their own selves in order to have or be able to carry out a relationship with multiple people. Okay. So it's not always the man bullying the woman. Sometimes the man isn't with it either. Okay. But my husband now, in his marriage, then he introduced the idea and his wife was with it, and they had their experience. They had someone that lived with them. So my husband had that experience already. Okay. My husband now, he wasn't my husband then. So eventually I divorced my ex-husband. He divorced his ex-wife. Me and my husband now, we came back together and we raised all our children together, and we've been back together since 2012 officially. Okay. So after that, in 2012, by the way, I was also a Jehovah Witness. I was heavily, heavily religious. And I felt that the things that I was doing, the feelings I was having about women was unnatural, unhealthy, not pure. God didn't like it. It made me feel like I was a bad person. So I stifled it. And when my ex-husband told me, nope, he not with it, that was it. That was it. We did try something like one time, but that doesn't count. Okay. So when I got back together with my husband now in 2012, I didn't want anybody. I was like, no, I'm good. I was trying to find myself all over again. And coming back into myself and who I am authentically, as I started telling him, okay, well, let's try this. I realized that's not really what I want. I don't want to just have a girlfriend. I just don't want to have someone, whatever. We want to have a village, a tribe. right? In all honesty, if I didn't have my kids so young, I really, in my whole life, I thought I would be like those women in the Caribbean. Like you just have the women, all the women having their children at the same time, breastfeeding, walking the land, twirling the land, like whatever. That's really how I thought my life was gonna be, right? So um, I've always wanted women around me because I didn't really have that feminine presence growing up, right? That's another reason why I can appreciate and I love the feminine energy. But I'm not interested in another masculine because, like I said, for this Aubrey guy and his wife, they are open to, you know, her sleeping with other men and he can sleep with, as long as everyone's open and speaks. And that's not what I want. I want my husband, we're stable, we're secure. And then I want feminine energies around us. They can love on him too if they so choose, but if they so choose not to, then okay, no big deal, whatever. So, in like 2018 or so, after I had my first past life regression and I saw some of the life cycles me and my husband have, the soul that inhabits my husband now, there were some things that were awakened within me, some things that I realized about my experiences. And then I told my husband, okay, well, let's see. I'm open to having somebody come in. So this is freaking 6, 7 years later. Okay. So we had someone, but they weren't living with us in that dynamic. And that relationship showed me a lot too about how some people can perpetrate who they can put on that mask, right? That's when I first started learning and realizing about masks. At this time in 2018, 19, I was not quite on my spiritual tip. I was no longer a Jehovah's Witness. I wasn't in the religion, but I was, still trying to find my footing, right? So through evolution, right? Here we are in 2022, 2023, and I'm like, I'm clear. This is what I want. This is the type of lifestyle I want. Are you okay with this? And my husband's like, yes, I'm good with it. And of course, we always connect with our spirit team, our guides, and everything that we do because, like I said, my first past life regression, but I've had a few. I am an angel oracle. I've connected with my angels before. Well, I connected with my angels all the time, but I've connected with my angels before regarding this topic. I had to get it out of my mind that I was a bad person, right? Because again, I have this foundation and this dogma that told me for so long it's bad, and then the people that are here that are on the leaderboards, I guess, of spirituality or this lifestyle, they're not really trying to build a community from what it is that I've seen. It's just, again, all about swapping bodies and sex and things of that nature. And Aubrey and his wife Vi, along with I know the co-wife or whatever, the other party, their third party, their name is similar. Ayala, I think, or something. I'm not sure. But their story was the first time that I heard something similar to what it is I desire. How they're doing energy work together, they're traveling. They even mentioned going to the temple of Isis. And the day I was watching it, I had literally just spoke to my husband about Goddess Isis and her energy and how prevalent it is and how I want more of that energy in my life. And then I watched this podcast and here they go talking about going to the temple of Isis and the message that Isis gave them, right? So hearing them and they're like, we're activating their spiritual energy within each other, right? Her presence is allowing Vi to be a little bit more heightened in her spiritual healing and how they were able to come up with different formulas and things of that nature and how they're just all connecting. Because I was like, that's exactly how I feel with my husband. When we have connections with other people, I literally can see, okay, this is someone that is familiar. I have a connection with the spirit. I can see our sacral chakras connect. So that's another reason why I'm like, I want a village or a tribe, and I'm not just trying to collect bodies. We're not out here just racking up bodies. It's not just about the sex because we can go and get that anywhere. I want someone that can help enhance. It should always be about enhancements because although you cannot be all things, you cannot be everything to everyone unless you are all of that for you. Okay. So for me, I'm severely in tune with my masculine energy, severely in tune with my masculine energy, sometimes to my own detriment. Okay. But I'm thankful that the spirit that is in my husband and I decided to incarnate in this romantic cycle in this lifetime so that we can learn from each other. And that's what all these relationships are. Okay. It's not about judgment. It's not about, oh, I would never, you shouldn't be walking around clutching your pearls, acting like you're unsure or uncertain of anything. No. Okay. Just because you haven't had that person's experience, it doesn't mean that they're now toxic and full of crap or anything, because all of them felt extremely genuine. And sometimes having, people like love on all different levels and angles. And sometimes in your relationship, having someone else that can highlight certain areas that you can't hit. Because again, you cannot be everything to everyone. Okay. Aaron Lyons made a good point saying that you have to feel safe, you have to feel secure. And usually when you're looking for something in someone, it's because you're missing it in the other person. But that doesn't mean that the other person is bad. See, my husband is very in tune with his feminine energy, not to his detriment. Like, he's such a beautiful, perfect, balanced fucking being. Okay. I'm like 50,000 years old, but he's 100,000 years old. Like, his energy is so fucking beautiful and amazing. And which is why I don't mind being open to other feminine energies coming through. He's in tune with that, but there's certain things that I cannot experience with him that I can experience with the feminine. And that doesn't mean that I don't love him or I'm not secure within myself, or, I can't appreciate someone else. When you are solid and secure in who you are, you can see the beauty in everyone and everything and not feel like it's a freaking competition. I know who I am. Me, Ascending Infinite Goddess, I am the catch. I'm the vibe, I'm the table, I'm the plug, I'm the bag, I'm it. You need something done with expertise and precision and love and abundance and sparkle. That's me. I bring the sun out. I bring the rays out. I right, with my yellow on. I do that. So I know who I am. I know who I am. I would never be intimidated, or uncertain or insecure. But I can appreciate when someone can come and reflect something to me and say, hey, instead of moving this way, why don't you move this way? And I'm like, wow, thank you. Gratitude. Because I haven't experienced everything. I haven't had, I'm maybe 50,000 years old, but I haven't had 50,000 years of experience here on this planet Earth. So therefore, I have not done everything and seen everything. So if you can come and show a different perspective of it, I'm grateful for that. And if I can see the light and the spark in you expand, and I have a hand in that, or my husband has a hand in that, because we are one, I can appreciate that. That does take an evolved human being. And I'm just going to be real. As I was talking to my husband about this topic, he was like, a lot of the time, most of the time, 90% of the time, people get angry and agitated and triggered over certain things because they see someone else living it and they're mad that they can't do that they can't live it. And when he said that, I was like, you're absolutely right. It's not about being jealous. It's not about the ego. Remove that. It's about, damn, you've allowed yourself to put your walls down and open up and live the thing that you truly desire. Aubrey them said there's no rule book. There was nothing guiding them. There's like, they wish they had it. The reason why they come out and spoke about it is because there's not enough people speaking about it, but there's so many people that live it and desire it. As an angel oracle, as someone who reads cards, reads energies, I connect with chakras. This is what I do for my everyday life. I connect with energy every single day. I connect with spirit teams. I connect with source. I do it every single day. And I'm connecting with different people. And I'm like, with your sexuality, do you feel this? You do this? You have this? You have that? That's what helped me break down my barriers of judgment. And as they say, yes, I do feel this way, but I could never do that. Why? Why can't you do that? I was raised this way. It's taboo. Society says it's not okay. I don't know if the other person would accept me. So you're still not living in your full authentic self. And then when someone does show up in their beautiful, full, authentic, vibrational self, y'all tear them down. And you call them toxic. And you call them horrid. And you make them want to clam up and cry, because it's like, why the fuck am I coming out here and trying to share this with you all? And it's not them beating down and trying to give you their ideas and principles. They're not trying to convert. But that's people's issues. A lot of people take their freaking religious dogma, the way how they were raised, or even how they were taught. They take their society like upbringing and they bring it into spirituality, and they put people up on fucking leadership. They place where they had God in their heart, they put these leaders there in that place of God. And then when these people are like, I'm not God, I'm just human, and here you go, and it goes against something that it goes against your perfect little image of this person, now you're devastated. Now you don't know what to do. Stop putting people on fucking pedestals. No one is better than you. No one is better than you. No one is better than you. Just like I know no one is better than me. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. You may excel in one thing better than me because, again, we're not everything. We are everything, but we cannot be everything. So you may be better than me in one particular thing, but not in all things. And you got to have that knowing about yourself. And when you're like, I'm just going to do what I want to do authentically, freely, openly, damn what it is y'all thinking, because who gonna judge me? Who gonna stop me? Who? None of us are getting out of here alive. And there's levels to this shit. So what someone does in their bedroom really is no one's freaking business. But sharing in the divine feminine energy and experiencing people on different levels in the art of creation, because every time that you engage in sexual activity, you are creating something. If it's not life, you are creating, you're manifesting. Those energies spark up. Those energies spark up. I wish some of y'all could see energy so you could see your chakras lighting up. It's meant to light you up. That's why your body feels the way it feels. And if you're consenting adults, then what it is that you do is whatever. Spirit told me when I was trying to get out of my head that I'm a bad person, Source came in and said, you're here to experience the energy in whatever capacity you so choose. Hi Loki. Hi Loki. My German Shepherd is here loving me. All right. Spirit said, you are here to experience it in whatever which way you choose. Right. As long as it's with, people. Is the activity of sex is meant to be done among people, adults, consenting, right? However which way it flows out. Now all that other stuff, not little people, right? I don't want to say the word, right? Not with the animals, not with statues. That's an issue. But when we were created, that's what we were created for. That's part of what we were created for. Stop being such prudes and stop being so mad at things that you don't understand. Hush, hush. You got to wait. Sometimes if you don't have the experience and you haven't expanded into that space, you can't quite comprehend what it is that you're saying. And I'm not saying you have to experience something to understand it, but it will expand your level of understanding when you experience it. Like, I'm not going to call my mom and ask her, for advice on astrology because that's not her experience. But if I want to know something about Jehovah, or if I want to know something about cooking, I'll go to her. Gardening, not so much. That's not her thing. Her and my dad got divorced because he was a cheating asshole. If that ever happens here, she's my go-to. My first marriage, she was my go-to. Listen, this man is this. What? Okay? But sometimes you have to allow yourself to expand past your broadened horizon and not just say, I'm not judging, but you are secretly judging because it's not something that you would do. Like I said, I wouldn't go and sleep with any other man, but that's just me. That's just my DNA. I wouldn't do that. But if that's what floats her boat and floats their boat, then by all means, who cares? But that doesn't mean that we have to be, call them frauds and just whatever. Anyway, at this point, I'm rambling. Doggy wants to go outside. So that is that. I'm going to end it on that note. But stop putting people on pedestals, and then when they behave a way that you don't agree with, you now have your feelings hurt and they're toxic and this and that. I've seen some people be exposed. I've seen people be shown up to be liars. Some of them are going to jail. Some of them have been in court, right? These leaders of the spiritual community, right? You are the leader of yourself. I am here just as a guide. I'm here sharing my experience just for that, just to share my experience. And maybe you'll learn something from it. But stop being afraid to be your authentic self and stop being triggered by your own hurt and your own past and your own pain. Because another thing that Vi said, and then I'm really going to close out, was that when she had that first experience and she was like, there's a man that I see that I want to have this connection with. And she went and she had that. And her husband, Aubrey, was like, that didn't turn me on, but, it's something I had to handle and live with. She was like, it really helped her grow because she never had that before because she didn't have partners that were open and honest with her. Like, if that's what it is that you need, that's what it is that you need. And then realize, okay, no, my partner is home. That is what I want. And I don't want to do this anymore. And it's okay for you to change your mind. It's okay for you to say, well, I wanted this, but I don't want it anymore. That's okay. That's why communication is important. Okay. So that is that. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And until we connect again, y'all hear the dog? Until we connect again, stay alert, stay aware, and live in love. Peace.